Hello, it's Matthew here again. It's a little bit cold today, as you guys can see. I'm really trying to beat the weather here because as soon as this starts to fall, it's probably going to be falling for a couple weeks, and I'm going to be stuck indoors with some anxiety of not being able to keep myself busy. So today we are going to be talking about some tips for beginner riders. Now, this video is aimed towards people who have pretty much never even thrown their leg over a motorcycle before. The beginnerest of the beginners. We have all been there before, so don't feel bad about it. But the goal of this video is to pick out the people who are on the edge of buying a motorcycle, but they're kind of like dwelling on these fears about like the unknown. See, that's the issue. When I was in high school, I really wanted to get a motorcycle when I had my first job, and I saved my money and everything, and I was getting ready to click on that button to sign up for the class, and I just couldn't do it. And it took me a couple years to finally get the courage to do this, and I really wish I did it before, so I'm hoping that this video will kind of save people from having that issue. I want to help you guys as much as possible. So the first thing that we want to talk about today is the controls. Now, this is, like I said, this is going to be very, very, very beginner friendly. Somebody who has been on a motorcycle, has done the class and everything, they're going to be like, okay, I don't need to watch this. But you can still watch it to support me. That'd be great. Or at least just, give me a thumbs up and subscribe or something. That'd be great. So we're going to start with the very basics. And almost all motorcycles are going to be kind of laid out the same up here on the handlebars. There are going to be a few like older bikes or custom bikes, things like that might be a little bit different. But for the most part, this whole video should cover pretty much any bike that you're gonna get into. So we're gonna start with the beginning. Just simply, you've got your key on and off, right? You got to turn your power on. You've got a kill switch here. With the X means it's dead. Without the X, it's not dead. If you want to turn this on and you've got the X and it's dead, this button ain't gonna do anything. So turn that, make sure you're in neutral, and we'll get to that a little bit later. And then I believe you could do it in first gear as long as you have the clutch pulled in, but we'll get to that later. That's not now. And then of course you press the button, bike's on. Very simple. So I'm going to talk about the left hand side and the right hand side. It's very simple. On the right hand side, where you turn on and off your bike, you've got, including your legs, you've got all your brake, your stop and go. That's it. Your right hand side is responsible for stop and go. Your left hand side is responsible for shifting and other controls like your lights. You have your headlights, your turn signals, and your horn, of course. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure nobody's here. Not every bike has this. Mine has hazard lights. It's just a little toggle. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to step off the bike here for a second and walk around and show you guys, starting with the brakes and the gas side. I'm just giving you guys a layout here of what the bike is like, just to familiarize yourself with it. And like I said, hopefully eliminate some of the fears of just any part of it that might be unknown to you. You have your front brakes. It's different than what you would think on a bicycle. You're going to be, on a motorcycle, you're going to be primarily using your front brakes the most. Now you got to realize that this is a heavy machine, and if you were, for example, your back brakes down here on your foot, if you were to press the brakes here while you're going fast and you slam it down, these are some pretty strong pistons here. This tire is going to lock up, and if you got this heavy machine moving forward and you got the back locked up here, it's going to slide around a little bit and you lose control. So you know, there are times when this is important. If you need to stop quickly, but there's a technique to it, and we'll get to that. And so for the most part, you're going to find yourself primarily just using the front brake. That's also why you have 2 discs up front and 1 in the back, because this is your primary. This is what you're mostly going to be using. So like I said, all your gas and brake is on this side here. You've got gas, brake. Down here is brake, and that's it. That's all that's happening on this side of the bike. Yeah, I've got a little idle tuner, but that's different. So we'll come over here to the other side. I got somebody coming over here. I hope they're not going to interrupt me with this. Alright, now over here on the left hand side of the bike, you've got your gear shifting side. So I'm going to go over here. This lever here on your left hand side, this is your clutch. This little dial right here is just to adjust the reach of the clutch. You know, how far away do you want the lever to be from you, basically. For me, I like that. On the back here, I'm not sure if all bikes will have this. This here is just a flasher for the high beams, low beams, and then you've got a little toggle switch for high beams, low beams. And like I said before, you've got turn signals, which my bike's off right now. I don't want to waste gas. And then your horn. So down here on your left foot, you will have the lever for shifting. And the way the transmissions work on most motorcycles is kind of like, if you imagine like stacked up and down. On the very bottom would be gear 1, and then you'd have a gear 2, of course, right? And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in between, this is the only nuance, in between 1 and 2 is your neutral, and it is actually like a half click. And later when I get into the shifting part, I will show you guys that. Just right now I'm just going over basic controls. So to make it as simple as possible, the left hand side of your body is going to be responsible for shifting gears and pulling the clutch, you know, just anything that has to do with shifting gears. The right hand side of your body is responsible for just stopping and going, basically. You know, after the bike's turned on, you're just stopping and going over here, shifting gears over here. Alright, you guys, so now we're back here on the bike. I'm having to re-record this because my other camera died, and I don't know where it died, so I have to start this over and try to do it just from this point of view. I had a second one set up so you guys can kind of see what my feet are doing, so just bear with me for a second, and we're going to go over some very simple ways to begin. I'm on the bike again. First thing I want to do when I get on here, of course, is put the kickstand up, and then looking back up here, before I do anything, I'm going to turn the key on. And even though I know it's in neutral right now, I'm going to go ahead and pull the clutch in. It's a good habit to get into, because you know, you don't want to have the clutch engaged and have you turn it on and it tries to take off on you. So even though we are sure it's in neutral, it's still a good habit to have. So I'm going to pull the clutch in, press the kill switch, and we're going to turn it on. Now, like I said, my goal is to make this as easy as possible. Now, it would have been easier if my other camera didn't die, but what I'm going to do is aim this down. We're going to look at my foot here. This is on the left hand side, shifting here. Again, I'm in neutral. I'm going to take my foot here, I'm going to push down on that lever, and it's going to throw it into first gear. Now, there's a thing called whiskey throttle, and it's a mistake that a lot of people do. There's tons of videos on it. It's really funny actually to watch, but it's where a person is, they're new to being on a motorcycle, and they go to give it some throttle, and it takes off because it has more power than they're expecting, and they tense up, and when they tense up, they pull the throttle more, and it gets out of control. They crash into something, the tree, a mailbox, or whatever. That is very scary. And honestly, that's the exact thing that scared me and almost made me not do this when I was beginning. So we're going to completely eliminate that fear, and we're going to start with just finding the friction zone on the motorcycle. This is really simple. My feet are going to be on the ground the whole time, alright? So what I'm going to do here, without touching the throttle at all, is I'm going to release the clutch just a little bit until the bike starts to pull, and then I'm going to pull the clutch back in. And I'm going to watch my feet so you can see what's going on here. Release the clutch. It's moving a little bit. Pull the clutch back in, and then just with my feet I'm going to move it back again. We're going to do this a couple times, and this is just going to help you figure out where the clutch is, because when the clutch is pulled fully in and you give it throttle, nothing's going to happen. You know, this clutch is kind of like your safety net. When you're beginning, a good idea is just to have your hand cover the clutch just at all times, because, you know, like I said, the natural instinct is to tense up when we get scared and we don't really know how to react. So at least that way, when you tense up, you're disengaging the clutch and your throttle's not gonna, you know, pull you off. So we're finding that friction zone right now. So this is really, really easy, and this is gonna help get rid of any of the fears of, like, you know, how the bike's gonna take off, because you can feel it right here, and it's very gentle, very simple. You know, some bikes, maybe they don't idle high enough to do this. I mean, you could probably do it a little bit. You know, every bike's friction zone is different. Some of them have a really wider friction zone, some of them have a lower one, and then of course, depending on how your adjustments are on your clutch lever, for some people it's out here, some people it's in here. It really just depends on how you've got it set up and what your bike is like. So moving on to the next part, instead of just rocking back and forth, now what we're going to do is we're going to find that friction zone and we're going to stay in it and then walk. We're just walking with the bike. If it goes too fast, pull the clutch in again and just let it slow down. I'm going to look down at my feet again here, if you guys can see it. Let the clutch out, and then I'm just walking with the bike. And see, this is why it was easier to have my other motorcycle, because my other camera, because it's hard to film this with one point of view, but that's all right. I tried. All right, so that's pretty simple. You just do that for a while. When you want to readjust, you just use your feet, hold the clutch in, use your feet, and walk back to wherever you need to be. Now, I chose this space because I have a little bit of a ways ahead of me. So I'm resting my hand on here. I'm not twisting the throttle at all. I want to show you guys something really cool about these bikes. If you want to be able to take your feet off the ground and ride it, you don't always have to have the throttle. It's a good habit always to learn to just feather off the clutch always. If you just dump it, it'll just stall. So this is a great exercise for getting used to how the bike moves, taking your feet off the ground, and feathering out the clutch, getting the control over your clutch hand. So what we're going to do now is we're going to release the clutch again, and we're going to walk with it, and then let it speed up just a little bit, and it'll get to a point without using throttle at all of a sudden I could take my feet off the ground, and I'm not using the throttle at all. I'm going really slow. When you get to a point you need to stop, pull the clutch back in and just gently pull your brakes. Super easy. See, there's absolutely nothing to be scared of. I didn't even have to touch the throttle. Do this a couple times. Now I'm just backing up with my feet here, of course. Do this a couple times until you're used to it. You can be riding on the motorcycle, feet off the ground. Let's do this again. Going slow, gently off the clutch. And then my feet are off the ground now. I can release the clutch if I want to. And it's just idling itself forward. You get to the end of your road here, pull the clutch back in, pull the brakes gently. Now these brakes are pretty strong. If you pull it, it'll jerk you a little bit. So just gently feather back into the brakes too. And, you know, it's just light on the controls, of course, unless you're in an emergency situation and everything, but you can practice those things too. So now I'm going to go ahead and get forward here. we're gonna practice using the throttle a little bit. Now with the throttle, you're always gonna wanna be gentle, of course, like always, while you're learning, especially when you're learning. Remember, this video is directed towards beginner riders, you know, people who have never done this before. So I've gotten myself turned around. I'm gonna do the same thing. As I lift my feet up, I'm gonna put them on their little pegs here, you know, and it'd be like you're riding your motorcycle for the first time, and it's not actually that scary. So what we're gonna do, same thing. I'm gonna go, go, go. My feet are up. Release the clutch, and then I'm just gonna very gently give it some throttle. And then we're gonna pull the clutch back in, release the throttle, press the brakes, and get your feet ready to stop. Very simple. It's actually not hard. If you have an open area like this, you can actually practice your turning and stuff. You could do all of it. All your practice you could do in first gear while you're getting comfortable. So we're gonna do that now. We'll go on to some turning and stuff. So same thing. These are just like gradual steps to get you used to how to ride the bike, you know. So feather off the clutch again, give it a little throttle, and maybe you can rock kind of side to side a little bit, learn how to turn. And now instead of just stopping here, we're just gonna kind of turn just like you're riding a bicycle. When you're going at a slow speed like this, not even 10 miles an hour, this feels almost exactly like riding a mountain bike or a BMX bike or whatever. So we're gonna do some turns around here. Now I'm barely on the throttle. When you get to a little straightaway here, if you want to, pull the throttle a little bit more, speed up. Just be careful, you know? Don't give it too much. This is how you get used to how the throttle works, how sensitive it is, because they are pretty sensitive. If I give it a decent little turn here, you know, and that's just a little turn, it's gonna take off. Most bikes though, they have pretty decent engine braking to where if you just kind of like let off the gas, I'll show you here. I'll pull some throttle, speed up, and then I'll just let go of the throttle. And the engine braking in first gear is enough to just slow it down again. And you can just slow it down to where you're just coasting again without even using the throttle. And guess what, you guys? You're riding a motorcycle. Look at this. Feet's off the ground, super easy. And like I said, when you start, when you're getting used to just taking your feet off the ground and, you know, just riding on it, I'm not even using the throttle at all. You don't need to do that. And if you're not using the throttle like this, you can't have whiskey throttle, because if you tense up, you're not holding on to it, you know? So yeah, it's really not that scary. This is the part that scared me a lot. Now, you're not gonna drive around like this, of course, because I'm going 7 miles an hour. If I'm, you know, on the freeway trying to do this, it ain't gonna work. So we're gonna get into accelerating, stopping, and then of course shifting. And we're gonna do that probably once I get up around this corner here. So let me get up here. I'm just gonna do this all in one take now that I've only got the camera up here. So pulling the clutch in because I'm getting prepared to stop. My clutch is in, I'm stopping. Anytime you're gonna stop, clutch needs to be disengaged. Pull it in. Alright, so now we're gonna go just a little bit quicker. I'm starting to shiver. It's getting cold out here and it looks like it's gonna rain soon, so I'm gonna try to get through these pretty quick. So you got your throttle again while the clutch is in. It's not gonna do anything. So we're gonna start exactly like we did before. We're gonna release the clutch, find the friction zone, take our feet off the ground, and then we're gonna give a little bit of throttle to speed up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the clutch in and stop. So, and this is all being done up here. I'm not doing anything down here. I'm not changing gears. I'm just doing everything up here on the handle. So here we go. We're gonna find the friction zone. Slow, slow, slow. Lift my feet up. Pull the throttle a little bit. Pull the clutch in and gently press the brakes, put your feet back down and stop. This is exactly how we went through it in our basic rider training class. And you guys, it's actually kind of fun. You know, I've been riding for quite a few years now, and you know, coming out here making this video, this is actually pretty fun for me. Just remember, when you're gonna stop, you want to pull in the clutch first. So it's basically release clutch, throttle, pull clutch, brake. You know, so we're gonna do this again. Now, you might have noticed on that pass, the bike doesn't really like to start by just doing it this way. It doesn't like this at all. So we're gonna practice, you know, starting more appropriately. If you try to start like that without any throttle at like a red light, chances are you're gonna stall. So let's come around here. We're gonna do this one more time, but this time, I guess, more correct. You know, doing it the other way where you just take your hand off the throttle and go, that's just to get you used to the bike moving. What you really want to do is try to give it a little bit of throttle before you start to feather out the clutch, and that's going to prevent it from stalling, you see. But still, I'm almost fully on the clutch. Even with the throttle, I'm not going fast. Even if I keep the throttle on, if I pull the clutch in, I'm going to start slowing down. You see, that's just how they work. So it's pretty simple. But like I said, you're going to a little bit of throttle, release your clutch, pull the clutch back in off the throttle, and squeeze your brakes. And it's really easy. You can have fun with this. Really, you can kind of mix it all together, do some turning, pull the clutch in. I'm kind of slowing down here because I'm getting ready to stop because I want to get to the next part because I'm freezing cold. It's really fun, actually. There's really nothing to be scared of. Let me actually get turned around. We are going to talk about shifting. Shifting is next. Alright. Now, let me aim this back down at my feet here. Actually, I'll show you here. If I pull up, the little click is going to go into neutral. If I pull a little farther, well, I can't do it while I'm stopped. The bike won't let me do it. Neutral is just like the half click up. It's just a very, like, if you're just sitting here messing around with it, you'll feel the difference. But and this bike, some bikes will let you do it. This bike won't let me go into second gear unless I'm moving. So even if I pull it up as hard as I can, it ain't gonna work. So what we're gonna do here, let this truck go through because I don't know where they're going. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a little bit of gas, and then I'm gonna explain how shifting works. It's really simple. It's just like a manual car. So I'm gonna try to do it while I'm going, just so you guys can see. Every time you want to shift, just like in a manual car, you're gonna want to pull the clutch in. So we're gonna accelerate, clutch in, off the throttle, up into second gear. I don't have enough runway here, so I'm just gonna slow down on that. So, first gear, not like that. We're gonna accelerate. Sorry, I'm just making sure you guys are paying attention. We're gonna accelerate here. I'm gonna do it at a low speed. Clutch in, up to second, feather the clutch out while giving it a little bit of throttle, just a little bit. And again, if I had a little bit more space, actually, you know what? I'm gonna give myself some more space. There's too many cars going through here, actually. Anyways, first gear, feather off the clutch, clutch in, gear up to second, feather the clutch out again, you know. And obviously while you're going to want to do this a little bit quicker, but this is just practice. This is just practice. Some little practice routines that you can do just to kind of get used to it. Now, you don't want to get your RPMs too low, because I mean, the whole little idle thing we were doing probably wouldn't work too well in second gear. So we're gonna go ahead and clutch in, push down into first gear, clutch out again. It's just very simple. I'm not an actual instructor on this, so my explanations might not be perfect, but hopefully this will help you guys out a little bit. Like I said, the idea is just to make sure that it's not scary. Try to eliminate those fears. I don't get it. Okay. Alright, I've got to wrap this up quick. This is getting a little goofy. You never know in these areas. Alright, now we want to go just a little bit faster. We're going to do the same thing, except for this time we're going to do it properly. I'm going to figure out what this dude's doing with my stuff. Alright, well, I live in a strange city. I'm gonna go ahead and move over to a different location, and I'm gonna just wrap up this video. I've tried wrapping it up like 4 times now, but I've had a guy come in and with his dog running around, and then I had this guy come in and park next to my stuff. Just getting a little nervous, so I'm taking everything with me now, and I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna wrap it up just here. There's a nice little parking lot here with it's a little bit longer, so there's some more space to talk about stuff here. So alright, so take 5, here we go. We're gonna wrap this up. I know this has kind of been a little bit disorganized, a little more than I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting people to intervene and everything, so we're going to just try to do this quick. So I'm going to throw it into neutral, put the kickstand down, and turn this off, and I'm going to just kind of walk through. This is your first time getting on a bike, alright? So to wrap this up, just a little recap of everything. What are we going to do here? We're going to go and get on our trusty steed, our iron horse. Actually, in my case, it's mostly plastic, but that's okay. Put the kickstand up, and we're going to squeeze the clutch in. Even though it's in neutral, it's a good habit to get into. Squeeze the clutch in. Kill switch. Ignition. Now, of course, yeah, your key. Turn your bike on. All right. Now we're going to throw it into first gear. Boom. Look at my feet. Push down. Woo. Clutch is still disengaged. Now this is our first time ever. We're just going to walk with the bike. We're going to watch our feet again here, okay? I'm releasing the clutch just a little bit. We're going to walk with the bike, walk with it. And then as it's picking up speed, we're going to lift our feet up. Moving the camera back up. No throttle. I'm just coasting. I can slowly let go of the clutch. And now what do we want to do? Go a little faster. Just a little bit. Keep your fingers over the clutch. Cover your clutch. That's going to be important, because if you freak out, you want to squeeze that. So, little throttle. Just a little bit. Get up here. We want to slow down for the corner. Release the throttle just a little bit. You know, we're gonna go around this corner. Now I'm not going very fast, so I'm not doing anything with the clutch right now. I say now we want to stop. Oh shoot, I can't stop, it just keeps going. Pull the clutch in, pull the brakes a little bit. Now you're stopped, okay? Now, we're at a red light, and there's cars behind us, and we don't want to just feather off the clutch and go really slow, because then people are going to get impatient and honk their horns at us and make fun of us. So, how do we do this the correct way? Clutch is in, give it just a little bit of throttle, slowly release the clutch. Always feather off the clutch no matter what you're doing. Now you kind of get up to speed a little bit faster. Alright, little bit of throttle, gotta slow down, off the throttle, clutch in. We need to stop here, so we're gonna press the brakes. Oh, look at that, look at this. We want to turn right, there's turn signals. Throttle, feather off the clutch, turn right, feather off the clutch, just feather off of it. We're gonna stop again. Now we're gonna shift, okay? We want to go just a little bit faster. On this one, you press the button to turn off that. My turn signals, they don't turn themselves off. So there's a lot of times where I'll be riding around with the turn signal on and I won't even know it. So, you know, always just remember, if you see your thing, you just press the button. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and do our final little bit here. We're gonna accelerate. We're gonna feather off the clutch. Then we're gonna pull the clutch back in and go into second gear. Give it just a little bit of gas while you're feathering off the clutch again. Like I said, every time you release the clutch, you're feathering, always. All right, here we go. We're gonna give it a little gas, feather off the clutch. All right, now we want to shift. We're gonna pull the clutch in, release the throttle a little bit, up, second gear, gas, feather off the clutch. All right. Now we want to slow down. Clutch in, down to first gear. Give it, just slow down. Use the brakes a little bit. Now feather off the clutch. Feather off the clutch. Feather off the clutch. Alright? A real shift sounds more like this. Right? A little bit faster. We want to slow down. First gear. Hold the... If you're stopping, keep your clutch in. Press the brakes, slow down. Alright, now I'm not going to talk about these next two rounds. You're going to have to try to figure out what I'm doing, okay? Feathering off the clutch, feather. Alright, you guys, I had fun. Got interrupted a few times, and it's really cold. I'm gonna start to sniffle here any minute now, but I had a lot of fun. I hope this covers some things that would be useful. Like I said, the whole point of this video was try to eliminate some of the fears that would be involved in, like, I don't know, just the unknown. Like I said before, when I was first getting into motorcycles, it took me a couple years to go through with it, just because I was scared of the controls. And what helped me was going on and watching videos of it. So I hope this video showed you how easy it is to ride a motorcycle. You find yourself in an open place like this, and you can practice these things, or you can just watch, and then, when you do have the opportunity, then you practice. But I'm gonna go now. There is one more concept I want to introduce you guys to. I'm gonna just do this really quick. It's called counter steering. If I'm going faster, I'm gonna show you what happens. Watch this. So let me speed up. I'm going a little faster. Watch what happens when I push on this handle right here. That's weird, right? Okay. You might not have caught it, so I'm going to do it one more time. This is just an introduction. I'll talk about this in another video. Let me go faster. And I'm going to push with my left hand. I'm going to push away from you with my left hand. Watch. You see how I lean that direction? It's kind of weird if you think about it, because what happens when... Let me stop here. What happens when I push this handle here? You would think, when I'm not going anywhere, I should be turning to the right, away, right? But when you do have a little bit of speed, and I push with that handle, it goes the other direction. Watch this. I'm gonna push with my left hand. What? That doesn't make any sense, right? Okay, so that's called counter steering. If you guys are interested to see what that's all about and you want me to explain it, come back in a couple of weeks once this rain disappears, and I will be making a video about counter steering. And I'm going to try to get on a bicycle and kind of explain the difference between the bike and the motorcycle. I just got to wait for the weather to pass because it's going to start getting cold here soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that was a little sneak peek into what I was thinking for my next video. And yeah, stay tuned. I've got some ideas for like a longer series that has to do with going on road trips and talking about well-being, spiritual, mental, physical health, and God, of course. Whether you guys like it or not, we'll be talking about that. But yeah, so it's time for us to go home. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please make sure to like the video and subscribe. Just because I'm out here and it's like, gosh, it's honestly, it's probably like 40 and I'm just a wimp, but it sure feels like 20. All right, I'm doing this for you guys. I hope this video eliminated some of the fears involved with riding a motorcycle and just showed you guys that it's really so easy. It's so easy. And you just do things like that until you get comfortable, Just do things like that. And before I go, one last example right here. I'm going into traffic. This is why you want to, give it a little throttle before you take off, all right? I don't want to just feather my clutch out without any throttle here, because what's going to happen is I'm going to go out into the flow of traffic and everybody's going to have to stop and go around me because I'm going too slow. This is where the throttle is important when you're letting off the clutch. Ready? Still feathering, still feathering. There we go. It's so easy, guys, and it's so fun. You should do it. Alright, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.